Hello, hi everyone. I'm thrilled to be here with all of you. I'm very excited. My name is Yaron. I'm from Jerusalem, Israel. I'm a doctor, a researcher in youth education, and I'm the pedagogical advisor of ESD in everything related to youth. ESD worked quite well for girls in high schools, but school demanded ESD for boys as well. Because I worked with boys in Israel on similar topics, ESD invited me to take care of this matter. I wish to apologize for not coming and talking to you in person in Albania, getting to know you and hear about the classes and schools you work in. I'm sure that later on, as soon as the corona calms down a bit, we will be able to create some partnerships and communications and maybe even guide you while working in schools. 2 years ago, we hosted in Israel a similar workshop for teachers from all over the world, and today we still manage to stay in touch with those teachers. So I'm optimistic about our project. I recorded 4 talks for you for this training. I hope you will have time to see them all, and if not, we'll make sure to deliver the recordings to all of you so you can watch them later on. These talks are the starting point for getting to know the concept of ESD and bringing it into your classrooms. Let's begin. Almost 20 years ago, I started teaching high school boys about sexism, chauvinism, gender equality, sexual harassment, pornography, violence, emotional expressions, all related topics to shaping a healthy and safe identity. Not just me. We're a group of facilitators. Men facilitators work with the boys, and women facilitators work with the girls. We have invested a lot in these students. In fact, with each class, we had 12 sessions. But after a few years in these workshops, we started to feel that we are not succeeding. We did talk to them about everything, but the harassments, the violent behavior, the exclusion of women, and seeing them as an unequal continued, and we did not understand what was happening. Then the cell phones came in, and the teens started filming each other without permission in intimate situations. Suddenly, they had more access to pornography, inappropriate content, and social media bullying. The facilitators who worked with me felt helpless. Slowly, they all quit their jobs. And finally, I found myself the only one still working. The year was 2010, and I decided to start investigating what happened there. How come we all came with a lot of goodwill, and we also had 12 classes with the students, and we failed in our work? In this context, I have discovered in my research things that can help significantly to all of us when we come to teach ESD in schools. So, and this information can help you, and it helps me also today, not to do the same mistakes again and again, to teach ESD without failing. To understand why we failed in our teaching on those days, what I did in my research was to check all the materials we taught in class, to interview many teachers as I could, and many students who participated in this program. The most significant discoveries in my research came from the students. They were the ones who taught me the most critical information about the mistakes we made. Every time I interviewed students, I asked them, why? Why, despite all we have told you, you continued to behave problematically? How can it be we did not convince you to adopt better behaviors? Do you know what the students answered me? They answered me that they felt that we constantly were blaming them. The boys were angry that we blamed them for being violent and chauvinists. The girls said that we blame them for dressing provocatively and did not know how to say, and about it, they didn't know how to say no when they had to. And both boys and girls told me that we've accused them all the time as if they were the problem. So I asked them, aren't you the problem? After all, it is you that is doing all those bad things. But the students replied, we were just imitated how you behave. I was shocked. I tell them, what do you mean, how we behave? And they said, okay, not you, but you, all the adults, all adults like you. You all day hurt, fight, you are violent. You teach us everything. We look at you and we learn how to dress, how to behave, how to react, how to be in this world. This answer shocked me. It was an innocent answer, but it came as a fundamental truth for me. I suddenly realized that we have a basic mistake in working with teenagers. Our error is that we constantly blame them instead of realizing that they are not to blame. We, the adults, the world we created, the modeling we give them, and the lack of modeling that we don't give them in a positive way, this is the problem. We do not respond appropriately enough to what is happening around them, for the media is broadcasting, for the content they are exposed to on the internet. All this means that we are silent and actually standing on the sidelines, sitting on the fences, whatever you call it. So I realized that when we want to educate teenagers, we cannot stand aside. If we stand aside or remain silent, we participate in violence, in chaos, and all other sicknesses. The only good choice that we have is to become a positive role model for them. To be a person who can set personal example of how one should behave. This is what I have learned from the students, that it is our responsibility to become positive role models for them. Otherwise, they will not agree to receive any good information from us. So this was the first understanding from my research. If we wish to succeed in teaching ESD, we must become a role model of ESD. It cannot happen any other way. Another understanding that came out from my research was that students need many good role models, not one. One teacher is not enough. You know, we cannot change the whole world or a whole country or a whole city, but school is a place that can be changed. A whole school we can change. We need the whole school to give them a modeling, a positive modeling of ESD. And to do this, it takes many steps, but I will explain the first steps at least today. So I have a small exercise that you can all practice with yourself concerning your students. And what you need to do is think for a moment what your students dreams of being, how they desire to behave, what kind of body type they wish for themselves, what clothes they dream of wearing, what dangerous experiences do they want for themselves, what sexual experiences would they like to achieve, what do they wish to become when they grow up. Then take this list and compare it to your dreams as a teacher. How would you like students to behave? What did you prefer them to wear? What kind of experiences would you want them to have? What will be their sexual life look like, in your opinion? What kind of risks would you approve them? What would you like them to be when they grow up? And if you see the differences between the two lists, what they like to do and what you wish as teachers them to do, then you have a first step in the direction, or the second step after deciding to becoming a role model. You know now what you need to do, where they are, where you want them to be, and when you see the gap, things get more clear. Now, the third thing that we need to do is to map out school. Map your school and check where it transmits bad modeling to the students. Like, what kind of pictures are on the walls? How safe are all the spaces in school? Is there an equal distribution of male and female students in all subjects? Are boys and girls punished differently? How do teachers generally treat boys and girls? How do teachers respond to cases of violence or sexual violence? After you answer all these questions, you have a map. You know what needs to change in your school, and you know what you would like the students to be. And now you can start an action plan for implementing ESD. How we do this more deeply, how the thing can work further, I will explain in the following tasks. What is crucial for me to say to you here in this opening talk? That this process can succeed. How do I know? Because in the work, in the school where I work in Jerusalem, called the Hartman School, we managed to do it, to transform a regular school into an ESD school. We turned the whole school, its staff, its structure, its teaching materials, the messages we give to the students, we transform everything so it can serve as a role model to the ESD way of life. In this school in Jerusalem, we deliver an hour and a half to topics related to ESD. It happens not once, not twice, but every week, all year long, in all classes. And we have taught these classes even on Zoom when there was a quarantine. We have been doing this for 8 years. In the last 2 years, more and more schools in Israel are joining us and adopting this method of turning the whole school into a role model of ESD. So let's summarize. First talk, just the general information. What you need to remember. We need to understand that we as teachers must serve as a positive role model for our students, even in the most sensitive behaviors of life. We need to decide what we would like our students to be at the end of the process, how we want them to get there. And we need to map the current situation in our school and examine how far are we from modeling an ESD climate. In the following talks, we will continue to develop this idea and get down to it in more accurate details. Thank you for listening. I'm really, again, apologize that I couldn't come and be with you, and I will see you later in my next talks. Thank you all.